I'm live. I am never quite sure with this software. Hello. Day 86. Quick slurp of my coffee. Day 86. Myths pros believe about barefoot rehab. Right. I'm going to go live with this on Instagram. Engage brain. Okay. Right. So today, day 86, I'm Lindsay Setchell. Welcome along. We're going to be talking about the myths professionals believe about barefoot rehab, about barefoot in general, but particularly about barefoot rehab, and how to challenge that misinformation without causing a fight. Well, that's not always that easy, is it? We'll look at why they have these beliefs. Why do those beliefs exist? Why do people still believe horses cannot exist on their own four bare feet? Why they desperately need to have shoes for various disciplines when the world is proving that's just not true. So what is it why do they have these beliefs? Why do they exist? And why are they so hard to break? And how can we challenge the misinformation without turning it into a fight? Isn't it funny it isn't funny, I suppose, but if you look at what's going on in the world right now, because of the disrupting nature that we're challenging all of that misinformation, how when they bat it back to us, that big fight, they call what we're saying is misinformation. But we're as far as the equine hoof care world considers us, we're the new kids on the block. But of course we're not. We've been around a long time talking about what we're talking about. It's just that now it's starting to gain momentum. So even when what we're saying really is threatening, because of what we're saying is threatening the very foundation of what this equine industry is based on. It's based very much on pathology, and they have been searching for an answer to that for years, i.e. laminitis, because that's what everybody wants to believe. Nobody wants to think that all of this horror that's been caused in horses' hooves could possibly have anything to do with a human being, because we're so damn perfect right across the board. No, I mean, nobody could possibly believe it's that. We have to give it a label. It has to be something else, and it isn't. And that's what we're challenging. Okay, so before we get into the great center of this debate, of this discussion, I'm just spitting there. Let's just say hello to everybody. Camilla's here. Hello. Maylin's here. Hi. Heather Switherbank's here. You're third down. Dawn Lim's here. Good evening, Phoenix friends. Yet another stunning day here in Wales. It's been absolutely lovely here. Beautiful blue sky. Pia's here. Hello from a windy Finland. I hope you're doing okay, Pia. Big hugs. Sarah's here. Hi, everyone. Caroline's here from Portugal. Angela Garberg's here from the south of France. Jeanette Desar is here from the north of France. Stella's here all the way from down under. Alex is here from New Zealand. Track to Nature. I'm just trying to think where you are. Suzanne Scheide's here from Germany. Kim Allaby says, hello. One myth. Oh, I don't think you are from Germany, Suzanne. I don't know. I'm trying to be too clever. Kim Allaby says, hello. One myth is that they think all barefoot trimmers are doing the same trim. Some barefoot trims can't make or keep horses sound. Of course, it's not just barefoot trimmers, it's all hoof care professionals. And because we now know we are getting enough, we've known this for years, but you are now starting to see how at vet schools, vets are not taught hoof care. You can see where we've got this massive problem, because they want to believe, because of the way they've been taught and because they don't understand hoof care, that laminitis rotation is all caused by the laminae bond breaking and P3 rotating, and that's what's caused it. Diet, basically, or endocrinopathic hormonal, and now they're looking at sporting limb, etc. That's what they want to believe, because they have nothing else to support what's going on, because they don't have that knowledge on hoof care. But when you do have the knowledge on hoof care and you do kind of understand what these scientists have been doing, and you do understand the foot, and you look at it from a rehab perspective, that's when you know that there's been huge failings. And that's what we're going to discuss. Hello from France, says Emmanuel. And Suzanne says, yes, that's what I thought. Whew. Okay, right. So let's talk about this then. The myths that professionals still believe. So let's start with what we hear all the time, right? Some horses just can't go barefoot. How many times have we heard that? Only today I read that on a big long diatribe that was having a go at barefoot, or that just some horses can't go barefoot. And in fact, really what they're saying is the majority of horses can't go barefoot. You can't rehab laminitis without medical intervention. Well, it depends what you call laminitis, doesn't it? Laminitis being the inflammation of the laminae, and that's being caused by tearing of the laminae, which is being caused by incorrect hoof care. If it's sore without shoes, it needs shoes. No. It's sore without shoes because of the hoof care. And because obviously the diet and management doesn't help, but that just exacerbates the problems with the hoof care. That the hoof needs support. Well, that's always been an interesting one. What's the ground doing if it's not supporting the hoof? Interesting on that one. What are they thinking? And barefoot horses can't perform. Well, I think that's been proven time and time again now. I think that old chestnut needs to be just put to bed, doesn't it? So these are the kind of statements that sound authoritative. And people say this and they repeat it. It's like a mantra, and they keep going on and on and on. So that those that people that don't know, including vets who don't have hoof care knowledge, will go, yes, you're right, Mr. Farrier. Of course, most horses cannot go barefoot. That is what we see. Horses crippled, not even able to walk over concrete. They are crippled. Horses cannot go barefoot. And then all the stuff comes out about it's poor genetics, it's poor breeding. We've bred the foot off the horse. It's just weak feet. No. Stop looking to the horse for your excuses, your justifications, and your answers, and actually turn around and look at the human beings. We need to challenge those beliefs. And when we say, no, actually, it's the hoof care that causes it, their eyes pop out on stalks. How dare you? How dare you say it's so wrong, Hoofing Marvelous, talking about other professionals like that? How dare you? Oh, well, it's true. I mean, do you want us to take part in your charade so that you will feel better? Would you prefer it if Hoofing Marvelous was just ignored what they see and just said, no, you're right, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so quite right, let's not say it's the human, let's play along with the game, and let's just play along and say that it is diet or hormonal or the owner. Let's just play along. No, we're not going to do that. And when we say the pain that this horse is suffering from was created by a method, not a disease. It was a method that caused that horse to suffer and lose its life, not a disease that you'd like to label it as. Rehab without shoes restores the horse's comfort and function. Of course, they're not going to have that, because they're going to believe that shoes are restoring comfort and function. And then, of course, the usual quotes come out. Hoofing Marvelous are dangerous, or various other hoof care professionals that are barefoot are dangerous, and they're all doing the wrong thing. And you can't lump us all in together, like you can't lump all farriers in together. The majority of hoof care in the equine world, full stop, is poor. Whether that is from barefoot trimmers or whether that is from farriers who shoe. It's across the board. And why? Because they're not standardized. Because nobody ever follows the horse's natural foot. Everybody's got to put their own slant on it and their own method on it, and the way that they think the foot should be. Hoofing Marvelous are not just challenging a method, are they? We are challenging an entire system, the whole system. One that makes a great deal of money out of pathology, pain, and keeping people in the dark. Well, we're not going to do that anymore, and we aren't going to play along with that game. And that's unfortunately why there is this fight. And that is a shame. But we will have to keep carrying on until eventually it becomes self-evident. And the only way it will become self-evident is when you guys, which is what you're doing, step up and say, no more. No more. I'm not paying you to do that to my horse. You must be joking. Look at what we can do when we stop raising heels and we stop chopping off toes. So the system is going to constantly resist for a long time, and it's a battle of resolve, isn't it? It's whether we can stick at it and keep going, teaching owners what's going on, or whether they beat us down. And at the moment, it looks like we are doing well. The Phoenix group is growing. It's just gone up to 11.3 thousand. I noticed that. That's very good. It's trotting along nicely at the moment. Hoofing Marvelous is growing. Gorsworth is growing. I don't know if you saw that Bethan has just gone over to 80,000. Very good. She's rocketing up. It's so hard to get professionals to look our way. Hello. Hello. Oh, no, they're ignoring us. Oh, hello. That's what happens. That is what has happened for decades. And so we don't want to be ignored anymore. For the sake of all those horses suffering in pain with incorrect hoof care and being put to sleep, for all of those that have been lost, we are not going to stay quiet about this anymore. This is not just about ego. This is about education gaps. Massive ones. Because most vets don't receive, I'm sure I spat then. Because most vets receive barely any meaningful training on hoof function or natural rehabilitation, it has caused huge problems in the equine world. We've got institutional conditioning, haven't we? From vet school to career. They're taught to look for pathology and to prescribe interventions, and they're not really taught to look for the cause. And they don't know what the cause is. Well, they think it's just a disease. Definitely don't think it's a method. There are scientific blind spots and have been for a very, very long time. And people didn't know that there were scientific blind spots, and people have been misguided because of that. Because most people, most owners, the last thing you're going to do is go and read a science paper. So you're just going to take their word for it. Also, if you're at vet school and you've got all your studies to do, unless you're actually told to go and read a specific paper and you don't understand hoof care, you're not going to get what you need to out of that. You need to be out there looking at it and understanding it. As we said to you, I think I said to you the other day when I was talking to the UK vet who just completed our 15 and 10-day challenge, and she was saying that their practical in vet school was to pull a shoe. That was it. No trimming, no looking at the external anatomy, the hoof capsule. It was just, how do you pull a shoe? And then because they didn't have enough legs to go around, they hammered the shoes back on so other vets could pull the shoe. That's as basic as it got. And then these people are meant to go out into the big wide world and come and visit you as a horse owner and talk to you about your horse's hoof care problems, which they are labeled as a disease to get everybody off the hook. Not that they know that that's what they're doing. But when you take laminitis research, for example, none of the studies, zero, have ever tracked the hoof care that preceded the so-called rotation. They induced the pathology, but they never ever asked how the hoof got so weak in the first place. What they asked is they asked the wrong question with a different mindset and a different belief system. They looked at lamini separation, which they saw, and went, that's diet. Even when they overdosed these animals with oligofructose or black walnut extract and put them into horrible states, they then went in and had a look at the laminae to see and saw that there were problems. Well, what were the state of the hooves? We never saw them. What were the x-rays on these hooves? Why in these papers do we not see what they looked like before they had that overdose? Why did they not take sequential photographs of those feet during that process? How do we know for sure that the oligofructose was the reason for the separation, or it was, in fact, at that time, the hoof care? You don't. We know it's the hoof care, but they can't answer that. So they just said to the world, oh, yes, look, this is what we see. And the world lapped it up because this is what the world had already believed anyway. They were just crossing the T's and dotting the I's, weren't they? They were just going, yes, yes, we agree. Yes, look, this is what we see. Absolutely. It's got to be to do with that. But was it? No, because nobody ever looked at the hoof capsules. It was so ignorant and arrogant to believe that it had nothing to do with that. So they didn't. They wanted to find an answer to what the world had already been talking about for years. They already had decided what was going on. They just wanted somebody to go in and look at the histology and prove it at a cellular level. But what they didn't do is try and disprove it. Take hoof capsules and say, well, all these horses that were going to the meat man, did we actually take photos of them all? Who was trimming them? Did anybody trim them? Did they not bother to trim them when they got them from the meat man? What were the state of that? Are you telling me that all those horses, all of them, in every single experiment that they did, all had exactly the same hooves? No. Well, we know that's not true, even in a herd of animals kept together. So that is a major problem, and it was a major oversight, and they just didn't think it was important. And so all of those experiments, in theory, need repeating. But of course, we don't want them to repeat them because they are awful, because they caused horses to die. So we need new data now, and we are getting it in abundance. And they aren't looking this way because that doesn't fit the narrative. The question really, the question alone as to why did you not do any of that sequential hoof data? Why did you not do that? Why didn't you look at that? Why didn't you tell us who the farrier was or the trimmer was? Why did you not think that was important? That question alone should blow the whole thing wide open. You go and have a look, go and look them up, go and look at these papers. You'll not see any of those photographs. So because of that, they're not looking our way. They don't want to. That's deeply uncomfortable. What we are saying is deeply uncomfortable. Those horses died because of accepted practices that the industry has been complicit to harm. Whether and right now, folks, this is the trickiest time because there's a group called Hoofing Marvelous, and there are other people too, but we're the biggest noise. Yes, we shout the loudest, and we will scream it from the rooftops because horses are dying and suffering. We are there right now, and Goresworth Track Livery are there right now and going, look what you're doing, and look how we're rehabbing. Now, the moment that they, right now, because they can hear us, the moment that they go, nah, let's just joke about what they're saying. Let's just say they're dangerous. Let's just stamp them down. The moment you do that is the moment that you are tethered to a method that is causing harm. And you have been given an opportunity to change and to walk down the other pathway and go, here, I'm just going to come and have a look, just to make absolutely sure. Not just to shout and call us a cult and try and demean us and try and continue to support your narrative and rhetoric. No, you need to now look our way, because the ones that don't, you are now complicit to harm. You may not have been in the past because you didn't know any better, but now we're telling you, and now if you look the other way, now there's a problem. Barefoot Rehab reveals what they couldn't see because they weren't looking. They did not bother to look. And so let's be honest. Who wants to be held accountable? Who wants to be held accountable for thousands, millions of horses who were lost under the wrong assumptions? I know that I wouldn't want that at all. Okay, who else have we got? Here. Melanie's here. Hello from Norfolk. Ulrika's here from northern France. Dawn says, how do I explain to a friend that her horse who has a coronary band injury doesn't need shoes or boots to help support it? Ask her to join the Phoenix group. Maybe that helps, might help. If she says no, then she's shutting down information. And you've got to ask yourself, why is she doing that? Cognitive dissonance. Ellen says, hello from Tennessee. Hello. And she has a dressage horse who's shod because it needs the support. Ooh. And if it's shod on its hind feet, those hocks are going to be in some serious problems, some serious trouble. Pia says, hug you back. I am fine. And Red was cantering and booking this morning. So she is breaking myths. Come on, Pia. Wonderful to hear. Just stay strong. We've got you. Oh, Pia, that is fantastic news. Love and hugs. Absolutely. Anne says, I'm 23 years in this search for sound barefoot horses, and my trimmer is going to take the Linwood Clinic with me. Yippee. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm looking forward to that, Anne. Brilliant. Well done. Really looking forward to seeing you. Did they do that to a live horse, Lindsay? Ori fit the shoe only to pull it off again? No, it wasn't live. No, I've told you this story, haven't I? That where we are probably the only organization in the entire world who goes through as many cadaver hooves as we do. And it's a shocking state of the industry that we are able to get hold of them, particularly in Europe or in the UK. It's been a bit trickier in other countries, but it's coming along now. We're finding our sources. But in the UK, where we get our legs from, they are one of the places we get our legs from. They supply vet schools, and they only ever supply vet schools with cadaver feet, but shod ones, never barefoot ones. And there's a really and we always have 2/3 bare and a 1/3 shod on our workshops. And you need to do the barefoot trimming, and then you need to take the shoes off and look underneath the shod feet and do those too. And you need to compare and contrast. And that's important and it's a huge learning opportunity. And you get to see the problems right there, right then. And they don't get to see that because all they're doing is for their practical exam, those legs are turning up. And because they don't want to spend the money on each leg, what they do is, and there's enough of them, but they don't want to spend. We do. We spend a fortune on these legs. And we have spent thousands upon thousands of pounds on cadaver legs, because it's all part of our research. And vet schools will take a certain amount for their students. And this particular vet was telling us that they didn't have enough. So they were pulling the shoes off these cadaver legs. And because they didn't have enough, they were hammering the shoes back on the legs so that the next student could pull that shoe. That's what they were doing. Great news, Pia. So happy for you. Ali's here. Hello. Kay's here. Angie Medler's here. Lydia says, hi all, still winter, still freezing to death. Caroline says, do the pharmaceutical industry fund the vet schools as they did with human medicine certification? They are involved with a great deal of massaging the industry to keep those drugs flowing. Shall we just put it that way? Because it's important, right? That's a business. I think people have got to remember a pharmaceutical business, a pharmaceutical company is a business. It needs to make money and make profit. And the only way it's going to do that is if it sells its drugs to vets so that vets can then sell those drugs to their owners. And each time it ratchets up, doesn't it? And so everybody's taking their pound of flesh every time that happens. But the last thing they want is an owner to sort their own horse out, rehab it, and then go, actually, we didn't need that. Don't need it at all. That's a big blow for the industry. They don't want that. So pharmaceutical companies don't really want you to work out that laminitis is all just a charade. It's been a hoof care problem. Because as soon as everybody really sorts that out and works it out and starts getting their feet back to where they should be, they're not going to have any more of that, and they're not going to need the drugs. Of course, we're still going to have EMS, we're still going to have Cushing's, we're still going to have issues like that. But I want you to think about something. Painful feet causes such a lot of pain, stress, over a long period of time for an animal, agonizing, and then they're asked to do things, and lameness is rarely picked up. That stress causing those cortisol levels to rise, which affects the insulin, which affects the endocrinopathic system, right? Hormonal system. What came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the pain or the disease? When we're talking about Cushing's, for instance, or PPID. EMS, we know these animals get overweight, far too overweight. Too many calories in, not enough calorie deficit. These animals, and we're not talking about starving them, it's just when they're not getting enough exercise. So yes, there's all sorts of problems, but when it comes to what we see, horses in pain with their feet, as soon as you stop that, everything calms down in their system. Well, a lot of things calm down in their systems. Claire is here. Hello. Jeanette says, I'm preparing a post for the HM page with photos and video about my Texan doing a 22K fun ride with funky feet after I trimmed him. I'm looking forward to that. Did everybody else see Susanna French's post? She's put a couple up, I think, today in the Phoenix group. Go and have a look. She's just completed, was it a 40K or a 60K ride? I can't remember. On first ride out, because she does endurance barefoot. She's been doing it for years. But she's just been out with Tilly Bean, and they got really high marks and doing really, really well. And this is a horse also that she had to rehab from inappropriate barefoot hoof care. Camilla says, here in Sweden, the farrier school is sponsored by the manufacturer of horseshoes and nails, etc. You'll often find, if you go and watch Pollitt on some of his videos that he made back in the day, you'll see him advertising shoeing schools, etc. on his clothing. It's a money go round, isn't it? Right. Okay. So why can't they hear us, brackets, yet? We've always said, haven't we? And we'll say it again. It won't be the professionals who change the world. It'll be you. We've said it, and we'll keep on saying it. I'll say it in every single live if I have to. This is a quick slurp. Hold on. Every single live. Oh, quickly. Anne Chopra's here. Viv Avery's. Hello. Good. 5:30 in the morning. Crikey, Viv. Anne says Instagram goes live before Facebook. Call me. Oh, my uncle is here. I hope he's still watching. So it won't be the professionals who change the world. It'll be you, because the equine world is stuck in a loop of blame the horse, support the hoof with a gadget, medicate the symptoms, and never question the cause, because they don't know what the cause is. They think the cause is just the same thing that they've been wanting to find out more about for years. You've got to ask yourself, you can't keep saying 30 plus years of laminitis research and they're no clearer on what's going on. All they say is, oh, cryotherapy helps. Well, they've known that for donkey's years about inflammation, haven't they? Put a cold compress on it and it brings the inflammation down. Old laminitic stories you'll hear about walking ponies in streams and rivers to keep them cool. We've known. Is that what 30 plus years has taken you to? It helps. Oh, as they would say, no shit, Sherlock. The thing is, you have spent years and years and years with a lot of funding looking down the wrong path, not looking the right way. And now, even now, when the truth is right in front of them, we've got x-rays, the growth rings even show it, vertical depths, growth rates with the growth rings, in the movement, in the recovery, they still can't look. Why? Why are they not looking? Why are they not looking? Well, because to accept what we're doing is to admit that they were wrong. And that's it. Full stop. That's the big problem. If you accept Hoofing Marvelous, if you accept Gawsworth, if you accept the rehabs that we're doing, if you accept other people who are doing the same thing that we are, that means that what you were doing was wrong and that you were wrong with your theories and hypothesis. It means also that your training has completely missed the point and that the horse was in fact right all along. It wasn't the horse's problem. It wasn't the horse's fault. It wasn't the horse's disease. It was the human. And I think here's the beauty of it, really. We don't really think on this. Do we really want them to keep looking? I mean, I do. I want them to look, but they're not looking. So the more that they don't look and the more that they just keep going, while the evidence behind them is stacking up and the truth is not going to go away, no matter how much they try, they cannot silence us now. It will not go away. They are tethering themselves to a method and to a system. And that will mean that will be a far harder fall. And some will just never accept it, even though all around them is changing. So how do we challenge? How do we challenge without us fighting? Well, without you fighting. So when you find yourself face to face with a professional who's repeating that mantra, repeating those myths, what do you do? Well, we've said this before. Stay calm. You must stay calm. You don't need to win the argument. And we say this to our pros as well. You don't need to necessarily win the argument. You just need to plant a seed. And when that seed has been planted, they cannot not think about it. That's, maybe they're going to say things like, oh, interesting. I've never thought about that before. And you might go, well, have you seen what happens when we stop manipulating the hoof and let it regrow naturally to the natural constants? Oh, well, no, I don't know. And ask them, what's your understanding of the role of the soul, of the heart soul plane in P3 alignment? I mean, when you start using words like this and you start saying, I'd like some lateromedial x-rays and yes, a DP please and a DP oblique, they're just eyes are going to pop out on stalks. The quality of the conversation is rising. And that is going to make them really think. They're not talking to neurotic horse owners anymore. They're talking to educated horse owners. So you've always got to let your results speak for themselves. And I I've said it a million times, and I will continue to say it. I repeat myself many times, and I mean it. You have to keep documenting your horse's journey. You cannot leave it to your memory. Your memory will forget, and it will spin things and not give you the right information. You cannot leave it to your memory. You have to let the pros see the progress, not just the pros, us, like Jeanette's going to do later. Everybody has to see these successes and this progress. There is not an argument in the world, there's not a post in the world that will beat a sound and happy barefoot horse, especially one that was once written off. It's funny, isn't it? We hear a lot from these pages, a lot of stuff from the pages of the people who don't want to look because they've pinned their flag to the wrong mast, and therefore they cannot look because reputations, egos, etc. are all at play. It is interesting, isn't it, that when we have these people who are not ready to hear what we've got to say, and we don't see anything from them except a photograph periodically. No sequential photographs, no sequential x-rays, no. They just want you to accept what they're saying by one photograph. That's it. Just believe me. Believe me when I tell you. And yet the horse's hoof, which continually grows, it's organic and dynamic, changes in a heartbeat, as particularly if the balance is not right. Your truth doesn't need permission. It does not need permission. You can just show it every single day. Okay, let's just do a few more shout outs. Carla Sroata is here. I think we've done Claire, haven't we? I didn't think there's anybody else that's put any more comments up. So today's takeaway and your mini challenge, we're not imagining things. Every foot that we see, we're not imagining it. You're not imagining it. The Phoenix group aren't imagining it. We're not all living in fantasy world. What we're seeing is the truth of what's going on. And the resistance that I face, you face, Bethan faces, Gary faces, the resistance that our pros face is very, very real. And in fact, very serious. It's serious. How far are they going to take it to shut us down? That's always in the back of my mind. How far are they going to go to try and shut us down? Their beliefs exist not because you're wrong, but because they have been conditioned to believe something that they have not enough evidence at all and will never get the evidence to find. We're in 2025. They cannot now keep going on and harking back to 1996. Nearly 30 years ago. We can't do that now. In 1996, we didn't have Gawsworth Track Livery and Hoofing Marvellous going out rehabbing horses all over the world. We do now. Now we know. Now we know what the problem is. You don't have to shout. I can. You don't have to. You don't have to fight. I don't want to fight. You won't find me going around and commenting on any of these pages. I stay in my own area. You just have to keep walking forward with us. You just have to keep moving forward, hoof by hoof, horse by horse, owner by owner. We just have to keep going, and it will get really, really hard. Some of them want to fight. They do. We shout loud, and we really shout it from the rooftops, clearly because we need to be heard, and it's working. It is working. So today, why don't you share a myth you've heard from a professional? Write it down. How would you respond to it calmly? Would you respond to it with evidence or a question? This is the way we've got to try and work out how we're going to deal with these professionals from now on. Post it in the comments or put it in the Phoenix group. Keep it to yourself as a reminder if you like. You must remember you are not powerless because you're part of a movement that's growing stronger every single day, my friends. Every single day. So just keep going. Keep going. We've got them. So thank you so much for being here today with me. It has been wonderful. It's day 86, day 87 tomorrow. Double live day tomorrow. Tuesdays and Thursdays are double live days. Thank you for liking. Thank you for following, sharing, subscribing. Please, please do share these mini live challenges with friends who you feel need to understand more about what we're talking about. I don't know what we're going to talk about tomorrow. I've got it on my list, but I can't remember what it is. Just remember, the Phoenix Way is going to help you to keep walking the path of truth. Keep speaking the truth. It may sound all a bit trite, but it's true. They may not hear us just yet, or they may have heard us, but they are deciding to look the other way and not look our way. But I tell you who has heard us and who are already looking our way, and that's the horses. So keep going, keep smiling, keep supporting, and keep sticking together. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.